Hi everyone, welcome to this new edition of Top Shelf. Today I made a selection of some dope records from my collection that I like to share with you guys. As usual, I'm gonna try to make it short to make sure that you watch it until the end. First record I like to present is the Blackbirds' Better Days, released in 1980 on Fantasy Records. This is an insanely good album. I mean, almost every track on this album is a killer. But I guess my favorite one is the title track of this album, Better Days. This album was produced by George Duke and I strongly recommend it. If you don't have it, you should get it very soon. Right, what do we have next? Bennie Braxton, Come to Me. This one is probably one of my favorite two-stepper of all time. I really love this track. It's actually not so easy to find. I was lucky enough to find my copy on eBay, I think it was 3 years ago, but now it's getting pretty expensive. But if you can get a copy for a decent price, strongly recommend it again. Next, wow, Mystic Merlin, Just Can't Give You Up. This is probably one of my favorite disco tracks. Next record, what do we have? Bogaz, I've Got Love, released in 1983 on AGR record. This is probably one of my favorite Brit Funk 12-inch of all time. This is not so easy to find, especially this OG press 12-inch, but you can get the 7-inch, which is less expensive. And if I remember well, there is also a repress from Boogie Times that came out a couple of years ago that you can grab. So again, this is a must-have in your collection. Right, what do we have next? Infinity, Spread the Word. This is probably one of the rarest records in my collection. This is some Jesus Boogie, as I like to call it. This is a very complete album, released in 1985. There's an interesting story about this album. The original press was released in 1984 with a different cover where you can see the band on the cover, and that was released in 84. This is the second reissue from 85, which is actually more difficult to find than the original press. I pretty like all the tracks on this album, but if I have to pick one, I'll go for Tell the World About It, which is an excellent track. Right, next, what do we have? Dave Valentin, 1982 album. Dave is actually the king of the flute. If you like some jazz funk and chill music, this is certainly one of my favorite records. Released on Arista Records. I love the cover actually, I found it very funny. And my favorite track on it is, without a doubt, I Don't Want to Fall in Love, I Just Want to Dance. This is an incredible track.
I don't want to fall in love, I just want to dance. I really don't want to fall in love, don't want to take that chance.
Again, very cheap, easy to find, strongly recommend this one. Right, what do we have next? Style, Playboy on Détresse, released on the small French label Byrds Records in 1983. Most French boogie lovers will know this record. The vocal version is pretty funny, the lyrics are hilarious actually.
Playboy, Playboy, Playboy en détresse. Lance un SOS, répondez en vitesse. Playboy, Playboy, en panne de tendresse.
But the big deal on this record for me is the flip side, the instrumental version. It's also interesting to mention that behind this record you have the Accardo brothers who are known for their involvement with the band Plaisir. So again, if you can get a cheap copy of that, I recommend it. Right, last but not least, a modern funk release on the Chicago-based label Star Creature Records by my friend Ourra featuring Andre Espeut on vocals. The track I like to present is What I'll Do, which is the B-side. It's actually one of my favorite records, very modern funk record of this year. So again, if you can grab a copy, please go ahead. Right, I hope you enjoyed this record selection and I hope to see you guys for a new episode. Bye bye.
I'm within your hands. I'm within